This is the German Touring Car Masters 2000. Fans, action, dynamic excitement, and pure motorsport. That was the German Touring Car Championship between 1986 and 1995. Huge crowds followed those races at the track and on television. The German Touring Car Championship was the Formula One of touring car racing. It's been 5 years since racing fans have been able to follow such races. In the last year of the German Touring Car Championship, the races averaged 70,000 fans per event. It was not only the high quality of racing, but it was also a chance for the fans to literally touch the cars and drivers. Stars and fans could meet each other. It was the best that the motorsports calendar had to offer. Then in April of this year, it returned. The cars and drivers of the new German Touring Car Masters met the public in Berlin. Mercedes, Opel, and Audi, along with 19 drivers, were going to test each other. It was clear that the current group wanted to grasp onto the success of the past.
If you remember, we had a really successful DTM championship in the past, and we know that it's absolutely necessary to have it below the Formula One. And we need fascinating cars, we need spectacular cars, and we need that, what we now see here today, real racing cars, especially for our visitors. And that is the reason why we are here and why we're very happy to integrate the DTM for 2000.
Racing fans never really found a racing series to take its place. There were plenty of attempts to get such a series started, but none were accepted, as was the German Touring Car Championship. Three manufacturers were ready to return to German touring car racing, among them Audi, with the App Sportsline team.
96, we had a great championship in Germany. A lot of spectators was very happy about this series. And now we back again in 2000 and we hope we had a big show.
The German Touring Car Championship was a series where you had to fight to win. Each race was tough, and TV stations carried the action live. This was a great opportunity for the manufacturers to show their wares, just as Mercedes wants to do this year.
DTM has a real great history, and I mean, even outside from Germany, everybody who's focused on motorsport knows the DTM very well. It's spectacular motorsport. It's a lot of fun for the spectators, and that's what will happen in Hockenheim again when we start the 28th of May.
The first race. Hockenheim in May, they're running the short course. 2 races over the 1.6-mile course make up the weekend of racing. The new series would start where the original German touring car series ended, Back to the Future. 56,000 fans came for the first weekend of racing. It was a huge party with an international flair. The last series champion, Bernd Schneider, got last-minute support from his wife, Nicole. The starting lineup saw Schneider's Mercedes and the Opel of Manuel Reuter on the front row. The second row was made up of newcomers Marcel Fessler and Timo Scheider. Row 3, Michel Bartels and Uwe Alsen in Opels. Row 4, Peter Dumbreck and Thomas Jäger in Mercedes. And the 9th and 10th positions, Jochen Winkelhock and Eric Ellery. A few meters, and the season would be underway. Manuel Reuter and Bernd Schneider get a great start, and Reuter takes the lead. Behind him, Schneider, Timo Scheider, and Marcel Fessler. Then, in the second curve, Manuel Reuter goes off. He waited too late with his braking, and Reuter loses several positions. Schneider takes the lead ahead of Timo Scheider, Marcel Fessler, Michel Bartels, and Jochen Winkelhock. The 3 Audis are at the end of the pack. This is the mistake that pushed Reuter back to 10th position. At the end of the pack, Christian Abt and Klaus Ludwig touch, and the Abt's Audi spins, but he gets back on the track. Manuel Reuter has moved from 10th to 7th and is now after Scotland's Peter Dumbreck in his white and blue Mercedes. Reuter uses a slipstream to pass Dumbreck, and more good action lay ahead. The track workers have their hands full, keeping the track clear of debris. Reuter is the fastest driver in the field and works his way all the way up to 3rd by the end of the race. Bernd Schneider continued to put the laps behind him. He was headed for the first victory of the season in a brand new series. Finishing second, Marcel Fessler ahead of Manuel Reuter. It was the Mercedes fans' time to celebrate a 1-2 finish. It got tight at the start of the second race. Timo Scheider in the blue Opel spun. And then Thomas Jäger lost the hood of his Mercedes, and everyone behind him was lucky it didn't hit their car. Another look at Scheider's spin. Then the rains came down, and the safety car came out on lap 17. The pit road became busy. Schneider and Fessler head to the pits first for rain tires. The ones who waited too long would have problems. Pedro Lamy hits the tire wall. Bernd Schneider is a rain specialist. He came home first in the second race, capping off a great day. 2 races, 2 victories. Marcel Fessler was second, and Michel Bartels was third. The Mercedes crew was into their celebration. Bernd Schneider had gotten them off to a great start in the new season. Schneider picks up 40 points for the double win. The chase for the driver's title was underway.
I know the circuit very well and also the conditions. And that was changeable during the races, and that was the reason I was a little bit dominated the race.
The second race weekend was set for the 2.28-mile course at the Motor Park in Oschersleben. Mercedes had dominated at Hockenheim, but Oschersleben was supposed to be an Opel circuit. This would be a battle between Opel and Mercedes. First, Uwe Alsen and Marcel Fessler bumped into each other. Alsen's front spoiler was damaged. Later, the Opel driver would be spun by Marcel Thiemann. Mercedes driver Bernd Schneider spun the Opel of Eric Ellery late in the race. Opel sports chief Volker Stritzig was not a happy man. Things got better for the Opel crew when Manuel Reuter led Opel teammate Jochen Winkelhock across the finish line to take the win. Opel had finally beaten Mercedes. The fans at the motor park were enjoying the weather and the racing. The start of the second race was clean. Manuel Reuter held on to the lead ahead of Jochen Winkelhock. Back in the pack, things didn't look that good for Opel when Timo Scheider and Christian Menzel went out. Mercedes had to watch as their star driver Bernd Schneider lost control of his car and crashed into the tire wall. This ended his race day. Here, another look at the Mercedes going off the course. One of the few bad moments in the season for Schneider.
In this championship, you have to push really hard to be competitive. And if you're driving on the limit all the time, just a little mistake can push you off, and that's what's happened in Oschersleben.
The motor park in Oschersleben belonged to Opel. Manuel Reuter could celebrate a double weekend victory. Reuter closed in on Bernd Schneider in the points race, both with 52.
I think it's really emotional because nobody was expecting after Hockenheim that we will be able here to fight against Mercedes or maybe to win, and so I'm really, really proud.
This is not the first time that Manuel Reuter has shown on the racetrack. He has won all types of races in his career, and there's one thing special that plays an important part. A pedal car, lawnmowers, go-karts, and then the move into Formula racing. His career seemed predetermined, but then an accident forced him to change course in those plans. He was runner-up in the German Touring Car Championship in 1987 in a Ford and moved on to the Sports Car World Championship. The big step forward came in 1989 when he won at Le Mans for Mercedes. More successes lay ahead with Porsche. 7 years after his first success, he was back on top, and the number 7 became his number. His lucky number. 1996, he won the championship in the International Touring Car Championship. In the Super Touring cars, he was on the podium 17 times. Precision work, a will to win, and perfect fitness have brought success to the driver whose hobby is the triathlon. First he moved to Monaco, but now makes his home in Austria. His wife Michaela and daughter Anna Teresa make up the family. Incidentally, his daughter was born on a 7th. Reuter can't imagine life without his family. The next race weekend of the season was at the 1.4-mile street course in Nuremberg. It's called the Norisring, the so-called Monte Carlo of Germany. Shortly before the start, a number of drivers had to take care of some problems. As the race got underway, there were new leaders out in front. The orange Opel of Jochen Winkelhock, and beside him the Mercedes of Marcel Thiemann. Behind them, Timo Scheider and Thomas Jaeger go at it. Winkelhock and Thiemann continue to battle, and Winkelhock comes out on top. Another Mercedes Opel battle, Klaus Ludwig against Manuel Reuter. And Reuter makes a mistake braking and drops back a couple of positions. Jochen Winkelhock, the veteran, picks up his first win of the season. Klaus Ludwig was second, just ahead of Manuel Reuter. A great start for the Holzer Opel crew and their 39-year-old driver, Jochen Winkelhock.
Norisring, there's always a very special atmosphere, and I have a lot of fans in Nürnberg. So for me, of course, was very important to be successful.
The tires became the key in the second race of the day at the Norisring because of rain, and Mercedes was out for revenge. Winkelhock was the last of the top drivers to go to the pits as the track began to dry and other drivers had gone to slicks. This was a mistake. The crew performed perfectly, but Winkelhock lost places. Bernd Schneider had taken the lead and left everyone else behind. The battle for second proved to be tight. Ludwig takes over the spot, passing Reuter in the hairpin. Bernd Schneider won his third race of the season, and the battle between Opel and Mercedes stood at 3 wins apiece. Reuter didn't give up. He passed Ludwig right before the end of the race for second place. Ludwig would finish third. With his win, Schneider took the lead in the points race, 82 points ahead of Reuter and Jochen Winkelhock. The day belonged to Bernd Schneider.
I'm really satisfied because we could not expect, especially after the first one, that we are fighting for winning the second one. And I'm really happy. But we gambled a lot in the second, and that time it's worked out and we won everything. And I'm very happy, and I'm congratulate to the team because this is for sure a victory by the team because this pit stop was amazing.
The fourth race weekend of the German Touring Car Masters was held at the Sachsenring. The circuit lies between Dresden and Leipzig. It would be a showplace of a special drama. And the weather was perfect on race day. Klaus Ludwig started from the pole position. He led ahead of Peter Dumbreck in another Mercedes. Then came Winkelhock and Reuter. Going into the first curve, Stefano Modena spun. Points leader Bernd Schneider went off the course but was able to get back into the race. Switzerland's Marcel Fessler had problems with the right rear of his car. Modena wants the course workers to shove him out of the gravel. And the hood of Pedro Lami's Mercedes gains a life of its own. Then the problems hit the Opels. Jochen Winkelhock sails off the course and hits the guardrail. Uwe Alsen is in the pits. Everyone is wondering what's going on. Uwe Alsen leaves the course and ends up in the gravel. And then in the final moments of the race, Opel's top car goes off the course, and Bernd Schneider inherits the position. It's a disastrous day for Opel. Klaus Ludwig celebrates his first victory of the new season. The 50-year-old star finished ahead of Peter Dumbreck and Bernd Schneider. Mercedes, first, second, and third. Mercedes sports chief Norbert Haug is naturally satisfied with the day's outcome. Opel drivers Manuel Reuter and Jochen Winkelhock couldn't believe their bad luck. The Opel mechanics now had their work cut out for them. They had to get the cars ready for the second race. Ludwig could bask in the glow of victory while the fans had a chance to look around the pits. The second race was almost the same as the first. Opel suffered more problems. And Stefano Modena spun and was out. Uwe Alsen once again headed to the pits. As the race wore on, Eric Ellery was the only Opel driver in the top group. He was third ahead of Bernd Schneider. And then it happened to him. He sailed off the course through the gravel. Smoke came out of his car, the tire locked up, and the car was out of control. It was a disastrous weekend for Opel, but there was a simple explanation for it.
I think everybody saw it. We had on forecast a tire puncture. The main reason was a gully was out of the track and the gully destroyed our tires. That was really hard for us. We lost a lot of points for the championship.
Eric Ellery is one unhappy Frenchman. It was different with the Mercedes team. Klaus Ludwig won the second race of the day ahead of Dumbreck and Schneider. In the points race, Bernd Schneider's two third-place finishes gave him 106 points. Ludwig moved into third place. What a way to start your comeback. He could have enjoyed his self-imposed retirement because he certainly didn't need to prove anything. But the challenge of the new German Touring Car Masters was too strong, and he wanted to drive again. The battle for seconds, the technology, and the interaction with his fellow drivers, these always have fascinated Klaus Ludwig. They have for more than 30 years. The list of his successes is long. He's the most successful German driver at Le Mans with 3 victories. He's won the 24 Hours of Nürburgring 3 times. He won 2 titles in the German Racing Championship and was runner-up 3 times. Ludwig won the German Touring Car Championship 3 times. One of the reasons for his success is his intelligent and success-oriented working style. His philosophy worked with the exception of one serious accident, that in 1989, when he withstood this tremendous crash at the Nürburgring. Nothing bothers this perfectionist more than his own mistakes. He's furious when a weekend's work is wasted. Victories are what count for him.
Gave me self-confidence back, and I think every sportsman needs that awfully. If you are struggling a little bit and then you have a good comeback and you find that you are on the pace, it helps a lot.
It's been 3 years since the German touring cars were at the Nürburgring. These races in the Eifel Mountains are always one of the high points of the season. The tradition and the elite of the sport bring in the fans. Right at the start, Opel had to watch one of their cars spin, that being Christian Menzel. He doesn't seem to have any luck this season. It started to rain hard in the middle of the race. The drivers headed to the pits to change tires. Despite the terrible weather conditions, the racing was hard. Here, Eric Ellery and Peter Dumbreck. You can see how hard it is from a driver's point of view. Uwe Alsen had all types of problems at the Nürburgring, this being just one of them. Mercedes drivers Fessler and Thiemann also had their share of problems. But it was Bernd Schneider who came out on top in the rain. He drove his Mercedes perfectly and finished first with almost a 22-second lead. Second place went to Klaus Ludwig, who got stronger in the second half of the season. The weather didn't get any better. All the drivers were on rain tires at the start of the second race. Schneider and Ludwig were out in front. Behind them came Fessler, Lamy, and Reuter, who was the best Opel at this point. Ellery spun coming out of the chicane. He was lucky and could keep going. In slow motion, you can see that Peter Dumbreck tapped Ellery, forcing him to spin. Scotland's Peter Dumbreck spun on his own, but got the car back on the track. Ellery was able to close the gap on the leaders. Here he duels with Opel driver Timo Scheider. He was just a little too fast, couldn't quite control it, and went off into the gravel. Mercedes driver Thomas Jaeger also had his share of problems. Uwe Alsen once again tries too hard and has to go to the pits with a flat tire. And once again it was Bernd Schneider who handled the weather conditions the best and took the victory. His second double victory of the season gives him a comfortable lead in the points race. Schneider leads with 146 points ahead of Mercedes teammate Klaus Ludwig. Ludwig finished second here at the Nürburgring. Mercedes leads Opel in victories 7-3. Bernd Schneider is one happy driver. The sixth race weekend was scheduled at the new track, the Euro Speedway in the Lausitz region of Germany. The pictures of the day looked like this: rain, rain, and more rain. Only the most hardy of fans braved the weather. They wanted to see the first touring car race at their new circuit. The drivers tried to give the fans their race, but the track was unsafe to race on. The red flag came out, canceling the races, and the circuit would move on. The next stop was actually the second stop this season at Oschersleben. This time the weather was fine for the two-race weekend. The start. Once again, Bernd Schneider started from the pole. But three Opels were right behind him: Uwe Alsen, Jochen Winkelhock, and Manuel Reuter. The action started early. Winkelhock goes through the gravel, comes back to the track, and the collisions start. There were a number of drivers involved in this one. There were damaged cars everywhere, and Pedro Lamy loses the hood to his car. Marcel Fessler, another of those affected by the collisions. Another look at this one. Winkelhock went into the gravel, returned to the track, hoping to get into the field again. He did, but everybody else ran into him. This is how Pedro Lamy saw it. The race was stopped. More problems here for Pedro Lamy. There were a number of drivers who had problems and wouldn't be back in the first race. The man responsible for it all took a break. The track crews took some 50 minutes to clean up the mess. At the restart, it was Jochen Winkelhock who spun first and was out of the race. It just wasn't his day. At the front of the pack at the restart, Bernd Schneider, Uwe Alsen, and it was Alsen in the lead. It was the day for the Audis. For the first time this season, Laurent Aiello had an Audi in the leading group. The Audis started the season slowly, but were now headed toward the leaders. The Audi fans finally had something to cheer about. At the finish, Uwe Alsen held on to beat Bernd Schneider. It's Alsen's first win of the season, which up until this point hadn't been that good for him. The mechanics had their hands full between the races here at Oschersleben. They had to get their cars ready for the second race. At the start of the second race, Bernd Schneider got off badly. He was passed by Manuel Reuter. There was a major moment for Audi driver James Thompson. He lost control of his car. He sails across the track and then heads toward the guardrail. He was unhurt. The car was a loss. Bernd Schneider was eventually able to pass Manuel Reuter for second place, and then he started after the leader, Uwe Alsen. Schneider was putting pressure on Alsen when the Opel driver spun. Once again, from Bernd Schneider's view. Now Bernd Schneider had a clear track ahead of him. He would pick up his 6th win for Mercedes. Schneider now enjoyed 181 points, while Klaus Ludwig and Manuel Reuter were tied for second. This is the dominator this year in German touring car racing. The next to last race weekend of the season brought the cars once again to the Nürburgring. The ring in the Eifel presented a different picture for the drivers this time. They would face fog, cold temperatures, rain, and wind. Bernd Schneider could wrap up the title with a pair of good finishes here. He qualified 3rd behind Winkelhock and Reuter. As the race got underway, Marcel Thiemann lost his hood. It's the second time that's happened to him this season. After 6 laps, Reuter was out in front, followed by Winkelhock and Schneider. Schneider goes after Winkelhock at the pit straight, and he gets by. Uwe Alsen also passes Winkelhock. Reuter is out in front, headed toward victory. Schneider is second, which gives him important points toward the Drivers' Championship. Italy's Stefano Modena wasn't happy with the way things finished. His mechanics were included in that feeling. AMG team boss Hans-Werner Alfrecht. He knew that if Schneider could finish in the top 5 in the second race, then Schneider would be the champ. Schneider had to battle Uwe Alsen in the second race. Schneider loses it, but then gets it back on the track and keeps on going. He's running 5th. In the replay, you can see that Alsen and Schneider do touch, but Schneider keeps control of the car. Manuel Reuter takes his second double victory of the season, finishing ahead of Fessler, Jaeger, and Bernd Schneider, who takes the Drivers' Championship with a 4th place finish. Manuel Reuter, one happy man. But so is Hans-Werner Aufrecht of Mercedes. Bernd Schneider is the first German touring car Masters champion. In the points race, Schneider on top with Manuel Reuter second and Klaus Ludwig third. Mercedes and Bernd Schneider were the last champions in the old German Touring Car Championship, and now they're the new champs in the new series.
We have a big launch here in Nürburgring, Mercedes-Benz launch, and some of my friends are here, and we celebrate the party tonight until no end, open end.
The season-ending weekend was once again at Hockenheim. The fans turned out in droves to see the final places in the championship decided. This time, they would race on the Grand Prix course. Germany's soccer legend Franz Beckenbauer was one of the honored guests at this racing spectacular. It was believed Opel would be the dominant force in the Grand Prix circuit. There were 6 Opels near the front: Reuter, Alsen, Winkelhock, Bartels, Ellery, and Timo Scheider. The Opel of Christian Menzel left the race spectacularly. He climbs over the back of James Thompson's Audi and then heads into the tire wall. Here's another look at it. Up front, the leader, Reuter, and Alsen have problems. Smoke is coming out of Reuter's car. Here's what happened. Alsen drove into the rear of Reuter's car at the braking point and then ended up taking the escape route. Reuter had to head to the pits. Reuter was going for second place in the Drivers' Championship, but this would be a crazy race. Klaus Ludwig also headed for the pits. Ludwig is the only man who could pass Reuter in the points. Ludwig came in for a time penalty. It seems his mechanics worked on the car 3 seconds longer than was allowed. Ludwig couldn't believe it. He wanted to leave the pits, but didn't receive the sign. He was so mad, he got out of the car. The Mercedes drivers battled for every position at Hockenheim. This is Lamy, Fessler, and Thiemann. The last one of this group comes home with nothing. Uwe Alsen won the race, finishing ahead of Bernd Schneider. This is his second win of the season, but even more important, it leaves Opel only one victory behind Mercedes for the season. The last race would be the decider. Reuter had to start the second race from the back of the pack, and here he shows his driving talent. He just gets by Ludwig and Nissen. Schneider heads for the pits after 6 laps. Not a great tragedy since he already had the title in his pocket. Manuel Reuter ran out of luck though when he lost control and slammed into the guardrail. He seems a little groggy after that one. In the replay, you can see that Thomas Jaeger touched Reuter from behind. He didn't have much of a chance. Reuter wasn't injured. Alsen drove home to a double victory at Hockenheim. He was followed by the Opels of Jochen Winkelhock, Michel Bartels, and Stefano Modena. In the makes battle, Opel and Mercedes ended up with 8 wins apiece. So in the final points, the new German Touring Car Masters champion Bernd Schneider, followed by Manuel Reuter and Klaus Ludwig, who incidentally didn't finish either race at Hockenheim. Then came Fessler, Winkelhock, and Hockenheim double winner Uwe Alsen. This is the man of the season, Bernd Schneider. Bernd Schneider is not the loud, boisterous star of his sport. He's motivated, self-assured, strong, and very fast. It was always that way. It didn't matter if it was go-karts, Formula 3, or Formula 1. In Formula 1, it was 3 years of frustration in a less than competitive car. This was now behind him. He joined Mercedes in 1991 and has shown all types of other driving talents. In 1995, he won the German Touring Car Championship and the International Touring Car Championship. He was the touring car man. When the International Touring Car Circuit ended, Schneider drove for Mercedes in the GT World Championship. He finished second in that series. In the German Touring Car Masters, he was the one people would have had to beat if they wanted to take the title. And it wouldn't have been easy. In order to become champion, he had to always drive on the limit. Even when he oversteps the limit, it seems to make him stronger. The German Touring Car Masters was second only to Formula 1 this season in Germany, and will go down in motorsports history that way. They brought the fans to them and presented the highest quality of racing. That was it for the season 2000. So long until next season and more dramatic racing.